Okay, so let's jump into this material you've brought in today. It's fascinating stuff, touching on something, well, pretty much everyone connects with, music, and specifically how the artists, the creators behind it all, actually get paid for their work.
Yeah, and it's clear from looking through this that there's a real feeling out there, especially for independent artists, that the whole system isn't working for them. It gets described as, inefficient, not very clear, and really kind of stacked against the artist sometimes.
Right. The big issue highlighted seems to be artists just don't feel they're getting paid what they should or, getting it fast enough. We're talking big cuts taken by different platforms or companies, payments dragging out for months.
Months, absolutely.
And this real lack of clarity about where their music is even getting played. Think about a coffee shop or a club or even someone streaming online. The material suggests artists often have, well, basically no idea about those plays and don't see a dime for them.
And that's made worse by all the layers, right? The middlemen, PROs, publishers, labels, they all take a slice. So the money that is generated shrinks quite a bit before it even gets close to the artist. It's this really complex, slow pipeline. Frustrating, I imagine.
Totally. So what we want to do here is explore this material, understand how some of these newer technologies, we're talking blockchain, NFTs, AI, how they're starting to tackle these problems. The potential here seems to be a move towards something much fairer, more transparent, maybe more artist-focused.
It's definitely a space with huge potential for change, for improvement. I mean, the current system is so tangled up, built on models that are decades old. These technologies could really simplify things, automate payments, kind of rebalance the scales. Though, as the material also points out, it's not like it's a simple fix. There are challenges.
Understood. So let's dig into why the current setup causes so much grief for artists based on what's in front of us. What are the main pain points?
They're pretty clear in the sources. The biggest one, like you said, is just feeling like the pay isn't fair. Take streaming platforms like Spotify. They keep a large chunk of the revenue. What's left for the artist per stream is tiny.
Like fractions of a cent, right?
Yeah.
The material mentions figures like 0.0033 threes per stream, maybe 0.005, which means you need an insane number of streams, hundreds of thousands, millions, just to make anything substantial. And that's before splitting it with anyone else.
Exactly. And then there's the whole world beyond streaming. Pubs, clubs, bars, radio, even like online streams or videos people make. The sources really hammer this point. Tracking music use in those places, it's often inaccurate in the traditional system. Sometimes it just doesn't happen at all.
Wow.
So artists are missing out on royalties they're actually owed for those public plays.
So a DJ drops your track in a huge club, everyone loves it, massive exposure. But from a payment perspective, it's like it never happened.
That's a common frustration you see in this material, yeah. The old ways of tracking are often manual or outdated or just get skipped. And even when the royalties are tracked and reported through the normal channels, it's incredibly slow. The sources talk about payments taking months to process, sometimes longer, because the money has to trickle through all these different layers, the PROs, the performance rights orgs, publishers, labels. Each step takes time, involves processing, and usually another cut gets taken out. So the artist's share just keeps getting smaller.
It sounds like a system built for the vinyl era trying to cope with, well, the internet age. Very cumbersome. Doesn't match how fast music moves now.
That's exactly the picture painted here. An old infrastructure struggling to keep up, leaving artists feeling out of the loop on their own earnings. No transparency.
Okay, so the problem's clear. Now, the interesting part, the potential fixes.
Yeah.
Because this material suggests these new techs offer real ways to address this stuff. Let's start with blockchain. How does blockchain help with transparency and automation for royalties? What does it do differently?
Well, the key thing about blockchain here is what it is. It's a transparent ledger. It's immutable, meaning records can't be easily changed once they're in. And it's decentralized, not controlled by one single entity. Think of it like a shared global spreadsheet for music transactions. Every play, every sale, every license, it can all be logged publicly, permanently.
Okay, so instead of hidden reports, you get this public, checkable record of how a song's used.
That's the idea. And then you build smart contracts on top of that ledger. These are like little automated agreements, basically bits of code living on the blockchain. When something specific happens, like a song gets streamed for a certain amount of time or a license gets confirmed, the smart contract automatically does what it was programmed to do.
And that something is usually payment.
Usually payment, yeah. You program the smart contract with the exact royalty splits agreed upon beforehand. Who gets what percentage? The songwriter, the performer, the producer, maybe a label. When the trigger happens to the stream, the confirmed license, boom, The contract executes automatically. It sends the payment, often in crypto or digital tokens, straight to everyone's digital wallet, instantly, or very close to it.
Wow.
It just cuts out all that manual processing, all those delays you see in the old system. Turns months into minutes, potentially.
Payments in minutes, not months. That would be completely transformational for an artist's cash flow, their ability to plan financially.
It really could be a game changer for making a living from music. Plus, it allows for real-time tracking. Because every single event play, license, sale can be logged, artists could potentially see right away with accurate data where their music is being played around the world.
And that transparency and automation together means less need for all those traditional middlemen, right? So artists could keep more of the money their music makes.
That's the potential outcome, yes. Some platforms mentioned, like Audius, they're already using blockchain. Artists there can earn their native EDIO token directly from plays. Yujo Music was another early example using Ethereum's blockchain for direct royalty payments.
The material also brings up micropayments being possible because transaction costs on some blockchains are low. How does that help with those tiny stream payouts?
Yeah, that's really important. With traditional banking, processing tiny amounts like 0.0003 per stream over and over is just too expensive because of the fees. But some blockchain tech, especially newer, more efficient ones like Polygon, which are also better for the environment than, say, early Ethereum versions, they can handle huge volumes of tiny transactions very cheaply. So it actually becomes practical to pay out royalties maybe daily or even per stream instead of waiting months to bundle everything up into one bigger payment. It turns those tiny bits into a constant trickle of income.
Right, makes sense. So blockchain handles the transparency, the speed, cutting out middlemen with smart contracts, enabling micropayments. That's a lot. What about NFTs? Non-fungible tokens, how do they fit into this improved picture for artists?
NFTs bring in this whole idea of unique digital ownership and totally new ways to make money. An NFT is basically a unique digital certificate of ownership verified on the blockchain. For music, an NFT could represent, say, a specific digital copy of a song, or maybe an album, maybe exclusive artwork, or even access to something special. The point is, it's provably unique, and the ownership is recorded permanently.
So an artist could make like a limited edition digital version of their track, maybe with special art, and sell that directly to fans as an NFT.
Exactly. That opens up huge possibilities for selling directly to your fans, cutting out the usual platforms if you want. Artists can create unique digital items, set their own prices, their own terms. Platforms like Sound.xyz or Catalog, mentioned in the material, are places where artists are doing this, selling limited music NFTs.
And the really mind-blowing part seems to be the resale royalties baked into the NFT itself.
Yes, this is where it gets really interesting and creates something totally new. An artist can program the NFT's smart contract so that every single time that specific NFT gets sold again later on a secondary market. Like if a fan buys it, then sells it to another collector years later. The original artist automatically gets a cut, a percentage of that resale price, every time.
Wow.
Kings of Leon did an early version of this with an album NFT. And platforms like Royal.io or Another Block are even letting artists sell NFTs that represent a share of their future streaming royalties. Fans can basically invest in the song's success alongside the artist.
So you earn not just on the first sale, but potentially forever every time that digital thing changes hands. That completely flips the script on the value of digital music for the creator.
It's a huge shift. The sources also talk about using NFTs for licensing music much more easily. Like imagine a bar or a DJ needs the rights to play your song publicly. Instead of complicated paperwork, maybe they just buy or rent a performance NFT for that track from a marketplace.
Oh.
That NFT gives them the verified right to play it for, say, one night in their club. And buying it automatically triggers the smart contract payment to the artist and any other rights holders. The example given was like a DJ pays maybe $25 for a temporary performance NFT.
That sounds like it could directly fix that problem of unreported venue plays we talked about, a digital traceable license.
Exactly. And NFTs aren't just about sales and licensing. They're becoming tools for building stronger fan communities. Holding an artist's NFT might get you access to exclusive Discord channels or virtual meet and greets, or maybe even voting rights on things like merch designs.
Right.
It builds connection and creates income streams that are totally separate from those tiny streaming payments. The material notes an artist might make, say, $5,000 from one NFT sale. Think how many millions of streams that would take to equal.
Yeah, that comparison really highlights the difference in potential value. Okay, so we've got blockchain for the rails, the transparent, fast payment system via smart contracts. Then NFTs for new ownership, direct sales, ongoing royalties, new licensing. Where does AI, artificial intelligence, come into play? How does it complete the picture?
AI acts like the Victor, the smart layer,
Yeah.
connecting everything, making it work efficiently, especially bridging the gap between music being played out in the real world and getting it logged into this digital system. The sources highlight its power in, like detection, tracking, and making things run better.
Detection, like figuring out what song is playing where.
Precisely. AI using advanced audio recognition, think Shazam, but scaled way up, can effectively listen in public places. Clubs, bars, shops, gyms, even analyzing live streams online. It could identify the exact track playing, when and where, pretty much in real time. And that data is gold, because it tackles that huge issue of public performance plays just not getting reported.
So the AI hears the song in a bar, identifies it, and then feeds that info straight onto the blockchain to trigger the smart contract payment.
That's the seamless vision described. AI gets the accurate usage data, feeds it to the blockchain. That verified play triggers the smart contract, which sends out the royalty, maybe just a micropayment, instantly. The sources mention this. AI hears a song in a bar, logs it, boom, micropayment to the artist via blockchain. Platforms like Asleys are exploring this, maybe combining AI with DJ input.
That's incredibly powerful for capturing value outside of just Spotify or Apple Music.
It fills a massive gap. AI is also really useful for checking the streaming platforms themselves, auditing their reports for accuracy, and crucially, for spotting and stopping fraud like stream farming.
The bots generating fake plays.
Yeah, using bots to rack up fake streams that siphon money away from real artists, playing for real listeners. AI can help detect those patterns.
Preventing that seems vital for any fair system.
Absolutely. And AI can also help manage all the complicated metadata. Who wrote what percentage of a song, who produced it, who performed on it. It gets complex fast. AI can help standardize that data and make sure royalties are allocated correctly.
And the sources mention optimization and analytics too.
Right. AI can crunch huge amounts of data on listening trends, what's popular where, audience demographics. It can give artists insights to help plan releases better, figure out which playlist to aim for, even predict potential earnings, or spot good opportunities for placing their music in films or game sync licenses. Platforms like Chartmetric and Vibrate are using AI for this kind of deep music analytics right now.
Okay, so putting it all together, it really seems like these three technologies work hand in hand. AI detects the plays and checks the data. That data gets logged on the transparent blockchain, which uses smart contracts for instant automated payments, possibly involving NFTs for ownership or licenses.
That's the integrated future sketched out in the material, a kind of self-paying music world. You could have venues where AI systems automatically report plays to the blockchain, triggering real-time micropayments. Maybe streaming services using smart contracts for daily payouts. And fans getting more involved, not just listening but supporting directly, maybe owning a piece through an NFT that connects them to the artist's success.
That sounds radically different from today. Faster money, way more transparency, direct connections, more ways to earn than just those tiny stream payments.
That's the core promise highlighted, yeah. Artists potentially getting real control, real insight into their earnings, getting paid much faster, and having these new, innovative ways to make money. It's about shifting from just chasing volume in a system you can't really see into towards building tangible value and community in one that's open.
Now, it sounds amazing, but the material you shared is also realistic about the fact that this isn't happening overnight. What are the main roadblocks?
Yeah, there are definitely hurdles. A big one is just getting the existing players to adopt this stuff. Convincing the huge streaming platforms, the established rights organizations, major labels, all the thousands of venues. Getting them to integrate these new decentralized techs is a massive job.
Yeah.
It takes effort, investment. You see startups like Nina Protocol building new things from the ground up, but changing the whole established industry, that takes time.
It's not like flipping a switch, for sure.
Exactly. Then there's the whole legal and regulatory side. The rules around digital assets like NFTs or tokenized royalties, even AI-generated music. It's all still being figured out around the world. You need clear rules for businesses and investors to feel confident.
Makes sense. The tech often outpaces the law.
And there are technical things too. Some early blockchains used a lot of energy. That was a concern, though newer ones like Polygon are much better on that front. Making sure different systems can talk to each other, interoperability, and just handling the sheer scale of global music plays. Those are big technical puzzles to solve. And, building and maintaining these complex systems costs money too.
Right. So, wrapping up our look at this material, it seems clear that blockchain, NFTs, and AI together offer this really potent toolkit. They could genuinely fix a lot of the long-standing problems in music royalties. The promise is more transparency, much faster payments, totally new income streams for artists, and better tracking of where music actually gets used.
Yeah, the overall picture described is a potential shift to a system that's fairer, works better, and really puts the artist more at the center. Using blockchain's automation with smart contracts and maybe crypto micropayments, NFTs for unique ownership and those cool resale royalties, and AI for accurate tracking and insights. It feels like artists could finally get more control and fairer pay for their work.
The potential here for a better future for artists seems really tangible based on this material, and people are actively building these solutions. It really makes you think. How fast could these technologies actually become the norm in music? And what would that really mean for the artists you listen to every day, and maybe even for how you, yourself, engage with music?